David DeGuzman inside the NBC4 Digital Center for another Digital Sports Roundtable as we continue counting down to the Paris Olympics. And to help me out, we're bringing back in Olympic superfan, digital content producer Orri Benatar. Today we are talking all things tennis. So, Orri, before we get into the field, tennis at the Paris Olympics, obviously Roland Garros comes to mind. I can't think of a better venue for Olympic tennis.
Outside of maybe Wimbledon in 2012, there's very few out there. You're talking about one of the four most iconic venues for tennis in the world. This is only the second time we're seeing a Grand Slam venue host Olympic tennis. We obviously saw it in London with the All England Club and those grass courts at Wimbledon. But the other unique thing is that this is the first time since 1992 that the tennis tournaments are on a clay court, which is going to make a big difference as to which players are going to have a little bit more of an advantage, because clay court mastery is very much its own skill set in tennis. Playing on grass and hard court, there's a little bit of a translation there, whereas clay court is a completely different animal. It's all about timing. If you have a certain speed, you slide into your returns. It's a very unique style of tennis, and it's going to lend itself to what I think will be a very interesting tournament that could breed some upsets, because you're going to have those lower ranked players might be a little bit better on clay than they are on hard court or on grass, that might get a surprise here and there. So I think it's going to be really, really exciting, especially just the venue itself. It's at where the French Open is. It doesn't get any better than that.
It gives us kind of harkens back to London 2012, when the tennis tournament for those Olympics were obviously held at Wimbledon. So obviously, there's a lot of history to it, and as we were seeing in that video right there, it's named after Roland Garros, by the way, if you haven't heard. Fun fact, that is a French aviator, famous French aviator. So if you're playing Olympic trivia this summer.
If you know your aviators.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Let's kind of dive into the field. We'll do ladies first. Let's start with just talking about the U.S. Contingent that's going to be competing at Roland Garros. Coco Gauff, Jessica Pegula, Danielle Collins, by the way, in what we presume is her last Olympic event, her only Olympic event, because she says she's retiring at the end of the year, which actually I didn't know until I read about it. And then Emma Navarro, and by the way, the doubles will be Coco Gauff, Jessica Pegula as one team, and Desiree, that is a Polish name, isn't it? Krocek? I'm going to have to look that one up. Desiree Krocek and Emma Navarro. So what's funny about this, Orri, is Coco Gauff, she's ranked really high in the world, but because this is clay court, it's going to be kind of a tough battle for her, because she's not exactly known for being successful on the clay courts.
Well, I mean, she's had some good runs in the French Open, so it's just the fact that every time she gets far in the French Open, she has to run into the best clay court player in the world, which is Poland's Iga Swiatek, who's won 4 of the last 5 French Opens, winning, of course, this year to cap a three-peat. But Gauff is also going to have the balance of the schedule, because she's going to be dealing with doubles too. She actually won the French Open doubles tournament back in May, but it wasn't with Pegula. It was with Siniakova from the Czech Republic, who's going to be playing with her fellow countrywoman Krejcikova. So, and that's one of the things about doubles tennis with the Olympics compared to the Grand Slams. With the Grand Slams, you pair with whoever you want. Olympics, you have to pair with someone from your country. So that creates a little bit there. But Gauff has played with Pegula before in doubles, and she is a decent clay court player. Let's not get mistaken. But again, it's Swiatek's gold to lose, very similar to what we're seeing kind of with the golf with Nelly Korda. There's one name out there that's really going to be the favorite. But had a bad loss at Wimbledon. You've got the likes of Jasmine Paolini. I think you have to mention her, because she just made both the French Open and Wimbledon finals consecutively. She lost both, but she's the first woman to do that since Serena Williams in 2016. So she's coming in, in good form. We'll see if Maria Sakkari can get something form-wise. She obviously hasn't performed at Grand Slams well over the past couple of years, specifically really in this decade. I think Danielle Collins is going to be one to watch, just because
I think so too.
It's her last chance. It's really this big moment for her. We've seen her perform pretty well in some of these big matchups. But again, upsets galore. The last 2 women's singles gold medalists were Belinda Bencic from Switzerland and Monica Puig from Puerto Rico. And before that, in 2012, was Serena Williams. So anything can happen in this round. But the fact that it's on clay, the fact that Swiatek is so good, not just on clay, but at the French Open specifically, she's going to be the very, very heavy favorite here. But I think Gauff is right in the mix as well.
I agree because, Gauff plays really well. And I think because this tournament is taking place, a couple months off from the French Open, granted, like you were playing on grass for a bit, so that kind of maybe throws you off when you're preparing for a tournament like an Olympic tennis tournament being held on clay. I think she has a lot of confidence coming from her run during the French Open. And I think she can put the right things together. But you're right. The question is, will that be enough to defeat someone like Iga Swiatek, who, again, as you said, is that's basically her gold medal to lose. So it's going to be really fascinating to see how the women's tournament pans out. And I also think the Olympics is one of those things where, again, expect the unexpected. I don't think we ever expected, Puerto Rico in 2016 to come out with that gold medal. But anything, I mean, Novak Djokovic, right? I mean, he was the favorite to win in Tokyo, and then he wasn't able to. Get all the way there. So, although 2020 was kind of weird. So,
yeah.
Let's now talk about the men. First, focusing on the United States contingent, we have Taylor Fritz, Tommy Paul, Chris Eubanks, Marcos Giron on the men's singles side, and then for doubles, it'll be Fritz and Paul together. Which I think is a very interesting combination because I think they played really well recently. And Austin Krajicek and Rajiv Ram, two players who I personally haven't really followed, but that's the pairing for the number 2 doubles for the United States. So, Orri, what do you think about the United States chances in medaling in either singles or doubles?
I think doubles higher chance. Rajiv Ram is obviously a former doubles medalist. I believe he medaled in Rio, a former Illinois tennis player, my alma mater. So I definitely love a little bit of Rajiv Ram. But I think that's the doubles is really the tournaments where I think the United States have their best opportunities to win medals, because with the singles, it's going to be all about the Europeans. Now, granted, Taylor Fritz is coming off a pretty decent Wimbledon where he had a 2-set. He was down 0-2 to Alexander Zverev in a round of 16 match at Wimbledon, came back, won that match, but then lost to Lorenzo Musetti from Italy in the quarterfinals. So Fritz comes in playing pretty well. Paul comes in. He's doing okay. But let's face it, the men's bracket is all about Carlos Alcaraz, French Open and Wimbledon champion. He's the best tennis player in the world right now. And then also just the last hurrah for Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, and Andy Murray. Let's not forget about him, because this is probably his last Olympics too. So what does Rafael Nadal have in the tank in what could very well be his last event as a professional tennis player at Roland Garros? He's won 14 French Opens. He is the best clay court player ever, male or female. So if he comes in with all this energy in the tank, knowing that this is his last chance, if he's on form, no one beats him on clay.
I think it would be the perfect story for someone like Rafael Nadal to go all the way, and in a place that's meant so much to him, that's meant so much to his career, to go out with an Olympic gold medal. I mean, he's someone definitely worth rooting for. Andy Murray has that same kind of like, I wish you could have that kind of success, but obviously we've seen his record on clay. I think if he can get a result, I think if he can make a bit of a run. Remember, this is a week-long tournament, and correct me if I'm wrong. This is it best of 3 for the singles?
So for the men, they do best 2 out of 3 singles for the sets until the final. Final is 3 out of 5. So that's where it kicks up a notch.
I was very confused when I remember Athens 2004, and it was best of 3, and then the finals. A lot of those finals were best of 5 for the men, and I was like, wait, we weren't doing this for much of the week. So that's also worth pointing out. Again, week-long tournament and best of 3. So you got to get off to a really quick start. Couple other names that kind of come to mind for me. Novak, I mean, again, this is one of those things where he's kind of in the twilight. He made it to the final of Wimbledon, but he's also coming off of surgery. And I know clay, while he's obviously had success on clay, I think it's just kind of different. And with the field that we're going to be seeing in Paris stacking up, I just don't know if we'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he, gets to the top of the podium.
Right. I think it's also a momentum thing, because if you watch that Wimbledon final last week, that was probably one of the few times I've seen Djokovic play his age. We see him kind of defy his age with his comebacks and his stamina and whatnot, but Alcaraz just was the better player in almost every facet of the game in that final. So Djokovic comes into the Olympics lacking a little bit of momentum, whereas Alcaraz has the world on his shoulders and has all the momentum in the world. Even if he didn't win Wimbledon, he would be the favorite because he won the French Open.
Right.
So,
but Casper Ruud, Alexander Zverev,
who's the reigning gold medalist and made the final of the French Open. So I think Zverev is like, top 4 favorite, I would have to say.
I think if you're trying to build the perfect final, if you're combining like, really great story versus kind of like reality check, I think if you can get like an Alcaraz, Nadal, I haven't looked at the bracket, by the way, but if you can get those two meeting somewhere in that tournament, that would be great personally.
It would be interesting. I mean, there's a lot of, potential storyline finals that come to mind. I think the other thing to kind of remember is the way the bracket turns out, we could get some great rematches from what we saw in the French Open. Zverev played Nadal in the first round. That was a great match. Sinner played Alcaraz in the semifinals. They went 5 sets. We've seen Ruud play Nadal twice in French Open finals. Ruud's a very good clay court player. Musetti's a good clay court player. What can Tsitsipas do? But again, funnily enough, a lot of these men who don't play doubles a lot are gonna play doubles during that week.
Right.
Usually Djokovic comes into a French Open, he's only playing singles. He's not playing doubles this year, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
We saw in Tokyo, Djokovic was playing doubles.
Right.
Nadal and Alcaraz are going to play doubles together, which is going to be must-watch. I think we have to say that the most compelling doubles team and probably the most unique is going to be seeing Nadal and Alcaraz together, the past and the present kind of thing. And I can just sense from just seeing what the Laver Cup offers when you have sort of these best singles players kind of teaming up, the atmosphere when you have two guys known for singles pairing up against each other, really two big names. I've never seen anything like it. In particular, when Nadal and Federer played doubles together 2 years ago at the Laver Cup, the atmosphere was electric. It was Federer's last ever competitive match, so I think you're going to get a lot of that energy when Nadal and Alcaraz play together. And for some of those mixed doubles pairings, because those are going to be incredibly unique.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. Olympic tennis has provided a lot of great moments over the years. Jennifer Capriati, Andre Agassi, Serena Williams winning singles gold in London. And of course, Andy Murray that year also. I mean, that was very memorable. So I'm excited to see the moments that are going to unfold in Paris. And of course, as we've been saying, opening ceremony, July 26th. You can watch that on NBC4. Of course, anything Olympics, you can be watching on NBC and Peacock. Orri Benatar, thank you for your insight as always.
No problem.
I'm David DeGuzman. We'll catch you next time.